Our first argument will be the United States federal government should mandate term limits for the Supreme Court. I'm affirmative and Chloe is negative, and the timer's starting now. The Supreme Court is among the most powerful institutions in the United States, holding immense power over the nation's laws, rights, and social structure. Yet the system of lifetime appointments is archaic and breeds a host of ills that undermine the court's legitimacy. Term limits for Supreme Court justices would introduce fairness, accountability, and balance into the judiciary to better serve the American people. My first contention is preventing partisan enrichment. Lifetime appointments allow justices to serve for decades, often outlasting the administrations that appointed them. For example, Justice William O. Douglas served for 36 years from 1939 to 1975, while Justice Clarence Thomas has been on the bench since 1991 and could potentially serve over 4 decades. This creates an imbalance where some presidents disproportionately shape the court while others have little opportunity. A fixed 18-year term proposed by many scholars would ensure a new justice is appointed every 2 years, reducing the political gamesmanship surrounding appointments. My second contention is enhancing accountability and legitimacy. Lifetime tenure makes justices largely accountable. While it's critical, judicial independence doesn't mandate life terms. Fixed terms would let justices serve long enough to contribute something yet avoid entrenchment and stagnation. Less than 40% of Americans today say that they have confidence in the Supreme Court. A historic low suggests the Gallup poll conducted in 2022. Regular turnover reinforces the view of judiciary involving with society and thus bolsters legitimacy and public trust in the institution. My third contention addresses health and capacity issues. The fact that justices can serve until their health gives out impairs the efficiency of the court. For example, Justice Thurgood Marshall conceded late in life that flagging health made him unable to function properly, yet he took it upon himself to hang on until a sufficiently friendly administration came along to replace him. Thurgood Marshall, American Revolutionary, 1998. Rule-based term limits allow justices in graceful exit because the need to desperately cling to their seats for purely partisan reasons would lessen. My final reason is that it represents popular democratic sentiments. Right.
Okay. My turn. Okay.
Oh, 2 minutes?
Oh yeah, it is 2 minutes. It's cross-examination. Okay.
Cross-exam starting now.
You argue that lifetime appointments lead to partisan entrenchment, but isn't it possible that by creating fixed terms, the frequency of political battles over each new appointment could actually increase partisanship, as each term expiration will become another flashpoint or partisan conflict? It goes in order.
While it's true that term limits could introduce more predictable vaccines, I believe that long-term benefits outweigh the risk of increased partisanship. Fixed terms would ensure that justices do not hold power for decades, preventing any one president from disproportionately shaping the court. The real problem with the lifetime appointments is the imbalance that create over time, where some administrations influence the court far more than others. With regular turnover, the court would better reflect the nation's evolving values, and the increased frequency of appointments would ideally force more than Martian corporation in the confirmation process, leading to less entrenched partisanship.
You highlight health concerns as a reason for term limits, but what do you say to the argument that the current system already allows for voluntary retirement, and that justices' health and capacity are matters that can be addressed on a case-by-case basis rather than requiring a more structural change like term limits?
The public's lack of trust in the court isn't just about nominations, but the perception that justices can remain in power for decades without facing any form of accountability. Regular turnover is about to go.
Okay. 3-minute main speech.
That's you, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if mine's gonna be 3 minutes. Okay. Ready?
Next speech starting now.
Yay. Okay. I negate the resolution the United States federal government shall mandate term limits for the Supreme Court. My first contingent is judicial independence. The framers of the Constitution created lifetime tenure for the Supreme Court justices in order to insulate them from political pressures. As Alexander Hamilton made clear in Federalist No. 78, lifetime appointments enable justice to decide case based upon the law rather than based on the fleeting winds of political pressure or the will of appointed administration. Term limits would increase the frequency of judicial appointments, thereby exacerbating the politicization of the judiciary. That's hard to say. If justices are aware of their looming exit, they may seek post-term opportunities, potentially biasing their decisions toward pleasing future employers or politician groups. My second contingency is legal consistency and stability. The Supreme Court derives its role of the final word on constitutional matters from its ability to ensure continuity in the interpretation of laws. Term limits could lead to rapid ideological swings due to the increased frequency of turnover, undermining predictability and stability in American jurisprudence. This would create instability wherein public confidence would be lost because laws and precedents might wildly change with each new crop of justices. Legal predictability is an important element in allowing businesses, governments, and individuals to plan and operate within the bounds of set law. My third contingency is existing mechanisms are sufficient, but this would in large part be redundant. The system as it is now works out accountability and renewal in the judiciary. Impeachment, infrequently used, is an organic constitutional means of removing justices guilty of misbehavior. Additionally, the natural process of retirement and death creates openings for new appointees. Using such calculations, the average tenure of justices serving in recent decades has been about 16 years, a figure nowhere close to the exaggerating long service narrated that justifies term limits. Overall, term limits on Supreme Court justice would jeopardize judicial independence, undermine stability in the law, and are unnecessary in light of the currently available mechanisms. Lifetime tenure, as envisioned by the framers, insulate the judiciary from political whims and enables it. It upholds the rule of law in a constant and impartial manner. Rather than imposing term limit efforts should be Rather than imposing term limits, efforts should be placed on enhancing transparency and accountability within the existing system to retain public confidence in the judiciary.
It was almost perfect.
Yay!
I don't know why it's not the alarm won't go off. 2 minutes cross-exam by me. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You argue that lifetime appointments preserve judicial independence, but couldn't term limits such as a fixed 18-year tenure also ensure independence by providing justices ample time to make decisions without immediate political pressures? How does a set term inherently diminish I don't know how to say this.
While term limits such as an 18-year fixed tenure may provide some independence, the very nature of a lifetime appointment allows justices to make decisions without the looming concern of future political ramifications. With a set term, justices might become more inclined to consider their post-term career opportunities or political affiliations, which can cause eroding the court's impartiality. Lifetime tenure ensures that justices can rule freely, knowing their decisions will not directly impact their future prospects, which is vital for upholding the integrity of the court's decision.
You claim that term limits would heighten politicalization by creating predictable vaccines.
Vacancies.
Right, vacancies. However, isn't the unpredictability of vacancies under lifetime appointments part of what currently fuels the intense political battles over nominations? Wouldn't a regular structured system reduce this unpredictability and deploralize the process?
Term limits could introduce predictability. Could induce predictability into vacancies, but this would heighten the political stakes of every appointment. Instead of the current system where vacancies are unpredictable, term limits would encourage every appointment to become a major partisan battle. The Senate confirmation. Okay, what's next? Your rebuttal?
Yes.
And then my rebuttal.
2 minutes. My phone will open. Okay. Rebuttal starting now. First, on judicial independence, lifetime appointments may indeed insulate justices from immediate political pressures. They also create a system in which justices remain on the bench well beyond their capability to fairly and effectively serve. Age-related decline and health issues, as with Justices Thurgood Marshall and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, can undermine the impartiality of the court. Term limits would finally allow justices to serve in the height of their capacities, keeping the judiciary fresh and relevant. While you argued that term limits would politicize the court, the status quo already invites unprecedented politicization. When the appointment of justice represents a once-in-a-generation opportunity, such structural imbalance coaxes partisanship. The predictable turnover, if we instituted term limits, would make every appointment less politically charged, since it would not be quite so much about permanently setting the balance of power, rather about filling an open seat in regular order. In many ways, this would depoliticize the process rather than politicize it further. Finally, although at first glance term limits may sound unconstitutional, precedents
Yeah, that's right.
do exist for solving such urgent issues through constitutional amendments. Accountability and justice in the judiciary go beyond this argument of
Should I click repeat? 2 minutes? Okay.
2 minutes starting now.
While the argument for term limit on Supreme Court justices may seem compelling, it overlooks several key issues that highlight the necessity words are hard tonight of lifetime appointments. First, the claim that lifetime appointments lead to partisan entrenchment ignores the fundamental purpose of judicial independence. The Constitution's framers designed lifetime tenure to insulate justices from political pressures, ensuring that they could interpret the law without fear of reprisal or the need to align with shifting political trends. Introducing term limits could inadvertently politicize the court further, with justices mindful of their post-tenure careers or beholden to the political climate of their time in office. Second, regarding public trust, the argument assumes that term limits would automatically restore faith in the court. However, public trust in the judiciary is more closely tied to societal divisions of the politicization of judicial appointments than the lengths of justices' terms. Shortening terms might increase the frequency of continuous confirmation battles, further eroding public confidence rather than rebuilding it. Third, the concern about aging justices affect the court's efficiency is overstated. The judiciary already has mechanisms like voluntary retirement and the ability to appoint senior judges to address incapacity. For every example of a justice staying too long, there are examples of justices who have served with distinction into advanced age, such as Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who continued to be a vital voice on the court despite her health challenges. Finally, while the other democracies may impose term limits, the U.S. Constitution is unique in its structure and history. The presidency has term limits because it's an inherently political role. The judiciary, however, is meant to be above politics.
Okay, 1 minute closing. The Supreme Court holds immense power over our laws, rights, and democracy. Yet its lifetime appointments create significant problems. Without term limits, the court risks becoming disconnected from the evolving values of the American people, entrenched in partisanship that undermined by concerns over accountability. Mandating term limits for justices would ensure regular turnover, preventing any one president from shaping the court disproportionately. It would enhance public trust in the judiciary by aligning it with modern democratic principles. As seen in other nations and our own term limits for presidents, additionally, it addresses issues of aging justices and the efficiency of the court. This reform is not about diminishing the court's independence, but ensuring it remains dynamic, fair, and reflective of our nation's needs. The time for change is now. Term limits will protect the court's legitimacy and strengthen its role.
Time. Okay, I'm gonna click repeat.
Okay. Oh.
Just click repeat.
Okay, go.
Okay. Mandating term limits for support court justices is a misguided proposal that would destabilize the judiciary and compromise its independence. Frequent turnover would introduce ideologic volatility, disrupting the continuity and stability of the legal precedent, key to maintaining public trust and providing consistency in the rule of law. Moreover, existing mechanisms like impeachment and natural retirements already ensure accountability and allow for